So playing instruments with children can be a lot of fun, but we definitely do not need them to sing any of the songs on this channel. But if you do choose an instrument, ukulele is a very good one. It is small, they can be pretty cheap, you don't need an expensive one. They always have nylon strings, which are safe for their little fingers. Steel stringed instruments can be very sharp, and especially up where the tuners are, the little ends of the steel strings can actually cut you quite easily. So definitely stick with nylon strings if possible. And if you're going to learn to play, there's so many resources about playing ukuleles. What you need to learn is C, F, and G. Those are the three chords that all the songs I'm going to show are using, or perhaps G7 is a little bit easier even to finger sometimes. So, and that's the one that's going to be mostly in the notes below. So I will let other people show you those. But when you're going to play with a child, you can even just play one and just strum it and sing a whole song over the top of just C, just the C chord. And that can be very, very nice. And if you're going to play in front of children, I definitely think that you should allow them to have a turn with the instrument. Now, most people, when they hand an instrument to a child, will say, be careful. And that is not what we want them to do. We want them to have fun. So I always say have fun. And I treat the instrument very delicately to imply that they need to be careful with it. And often they've been told, don't touch it. And they already have an idea that they need to be careful. So I'll just gauge how they interact with it. And if they're starting to be too rough with it, I'll make the face and check on the guitar and make sure it's safe and be like, oh boy, well, if we're not ready to be safe with the instrument, maybe we should take a break. And usually they'll be ready to take a little better care of it. And the next thing is that holding an instrument like this in the traditional fashion you usually see is not the way to hold an instrument. That's the way I like to hold it. So you can tell them, I like to hold it like this, if they're having some trouble with it. But actually, usually they're going to be muting the strings and not be able to make a sound. So they do need to have this hand either holding onto the edge or keeping it flat, and they'll usually strum straight towards themselves, and they'll just enjoy themselves like that. They almost always want to play these little ones and make the tiny sounds up top, and that's totally fine. However, the tuners, they really want to turn these, but if you keep cranking on it, it can actually break the string and it will put it out of tune, and if it doesn't sound good, it doesn't sound that well. So you can just say, oh, that's teacher work. Please don't turn those. It could break the string. But so the next phase would be not fretting the strings with their fingers. It's going to be a long time before their hands are strong enough to do that. It's actually to use a slide. And this is very heavy and hard, only for people that will be gentle with it. And I would show them laying it down flat, placing the slide along the strings, and then you can brush. And they'll have some fun with that. They'll do the other side, they'll do lots of experimenting, and that's all perfectly fine as long as they're having fun and respectful. And of course, when someone else wants a turn, they just need to wait until your friend is all finished, and when they're finished, it can be your turn next. So it can be a really nice way to implement self-respect and respect of others, respect of objects, and really just draw them in, because they're such a beautiful instrument. Really, all instruments are so beautiful. It's an easy way to elicit a lot of activity